All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. So my question for you today is, what's it gonna take for you to break the habit of drifting? I hope everyone's doing well. Yes, we can finally hear me. You know what? I'm gonna tell you guys this right now. So for people watching the recording, I tried to go live 2 times, and the enemy was trying to get in the way because he does not want you to know how to become a non-drifter, right? He wants you to stay a drifter, and he does not want you to hear this message. So that is why it's going to be super important that you listen to this today, because I am going to tell you the secret sauce of becoming a non-drifter. And it starts with this one phrase right here, right? All success starts with having a definite major purpose. And it is until you finally figure this part out for yourself, right? That you finally stop focusing on what's going to go wrong, what are they going to say about me, et cetera, and you start focusing exactly on what you want. So I'll tell you a little story about myself, right? When I got started into business, I was a drifter as well. I thought just because that I had a business name and I was knocking on doors, selling, right, it's gonna all work out, right? I thought, I had this goal to make $10,000, and I thought it was just gonna magically happen because I set that goal. But the truth was, I was still a drifter at the time. And when I started getting into month 4 and month 5 of the business, I would spend more of my energy focusing on what are they going to say about me if this goes wrong, right? What are my friends going to think of me if this goes wrong? And you know what I did? I drifted right into temporary defeat. Okay? Boom. I got hit with temporary failure because, I wasn't focusing on my definite major purpose. And when I'm talking about my definite major purpose, I'm talking about like how much money do you truly want to earn? And what do you truly want in this world? And how bad do you want it? So, it was at that moment when I experienced this temporary defeat that I had 2 options. I realized, I can either give up on business and selling and, just go through engineering, get a nice, safe, comfortable job as an engineer, or I could do option number 2, which is I can get better, right? I can actually start thinking and getting better so that this doesn't happen next time and that I keep going, right? And I think there's a really important lesson in this. I think, everyone, especially when you're young, you're told, oh, just enjoy the moment, have fun, right? You're drifting through life, let's just say. And rightfully so, right? I'm not going to say that as a kid that it wasn't fun being a drifter, but when you decide that you want to become successful, you're going to have to turn it up a notch. And that's the conversation that we're going to have today. All right. So one thing, right? There's one thing in the book that I'm going to share with you that Napoleon Hill talks about, and is having a definite major purpose. And there's 7 parts of this definite purpose. I'm actually going to read them to you because I couldn't have said it better myself. So stay tuned. So what I'm going to explain is 7 parts of establishing your definite major purpose. This comes from Napoleon Hill's Master Course on Success. And let's get started with the first part of establishing your definite major purpose. So the first premise is that definiteness of purpose is the starting point of all achievement, right? If you want to know, right, where do you start to become successful? It's by establishing exactly what it is that you want. Now understand this. This is really key to understand. A definite purpose must be accompanied by a definite plan for implementation, followed by appropriate action. All right, check this out, right? I have this one buddy who keeps claiming that he's going to be a billionaire, and he thinks the more enthusiastic that he says that I'm going to become a billionaire, that it's just going to magically happen. But what does he lack? He lacks a definite plan followed by appropriate action. So my question to you, right? What is your definite major purpose? What do you truly want? And do you have a plan to go get it. All right, number two, the second part of having your definite major purpose is that all individual achievements are the result of a motive or a combination of motives. Right? You have no right to ask anybody to do anything at any time without giving that person an adequate motive. Right? If you're a salesman and you're selling something, right, you have to have a motive. Right? What is the reason that what you're selling is compelling? And there's 9 basic motives that I'll list here today. Right? It's like, are you leading? Are you giving the person like self-preservation? Right? Are you enticing them to financial gain? Is it for love or sex that the motive you're giving them? Right? Are you giving them like the desire for power and fame? Or are you being one of those leaders that leads out of fear, that leads out of revenge? All right. And then the last two are freedom of body and mind, and finally, the desire to create. So, what is the motive, especially when you're a salesman? What is the motive? What is the intention behind what you're selling? I'm not just going to sell you a product. I got to give you the benefits. All right. And it comes down to those 9 basic motives. The third premise, the third part of establishing your definite major purpose is this. This is key. So, pay really close attention. He says that any dominating idea, plan, or purpose held in the mind through repetition of thought and emotion, allied with a burning desire for its realization, is taken over by the subconscious section of the mind and is acted upon through whatever natural and logical means that may be available. This is the secret. I'll repeat it in my own words, right? The secret is through repetition, right? Repetition is the mother of skill. You have to get emotionally involved with the idea, right? You can't just say that you have this goal to, one sec. You can't just say you have this goal that I'm going to become a millionaire and just say it once and think that it's going to be planted in your mind, right? A lot of what we lack is just the faith and the self-confidence to go out there and get it, right? So how do you actually develop faith? I'm going to actually talk about this in the next part, but how you develop faith is through repetition. You got to write down your goals. If I'm not writing down my definite major purpose every single morning, it's going to eventually slip my mind. And then what happens, right? What happens when you don't write down your goals? Let's say a month goes by, right? And you're thinking, man, I remember when I wanted to move to Miami, but that goal is impossible at this point. And then you act like it's not possible. And you come up with all these alibis and excuses of why you can't have it, right? Now, the idea here, right, whatever it is that you want, if it's set really high, like it should be, it may not seem believable. Now, how do you make it believable, right? It's through the repetition. And then the last secret of this idea is that you have to get emotionally involved with the goal, right? If you just say, I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm earning $100,000 a month in residual income, right? If you just say it like that, that's not going to do anything. You have to say it and you have to feel it. All right. All right, number four, the fourth premise, we're going to talk about faith. Any dominating desire, plan, or purpose which is backed by that state of mind known as faith is taken over by the subconscious section of the mind and is acted upon immediately. So check this out, right? When he's talking about faith, right? When we're talking about real faith, we're not talking about wishing for riches. We're not talking about quote unquote, I believe, right? We're not talking about that. He's talking about that state of mind, right? This is what I'm talking about. The state of mind where you already see it as already done, right? A lot of people, may not be able to, let's say you have a vision, right? A lot of people aren't going to get the same vision that you have because they can't see it. But when you see it as already done, that's what I'm talking about as that state of mind known as faith. All right. Now here's the kicker. When you truly learn to master this principle of faith, he says that any dominating desire, plan, or purpose which is backed by that state of mind known as faith is taken over by the subconscious section of the mind and is acted upon immediately. Right? When you have full faith that your plan is sound and that your definite major purpose is right, you start acting on it immediately. And that's the kicker, right? You obviously everyone knows you got to take action. But the thing is, everyone's like in this phase of like stuck, right? They're not taking action. It's because you have not yet developed that state of mind knowing that it's already done. And here's the secret, right? Here's the secret that they won't tell you about. That state of mind is also known as gratitude, right? Be grateful that it's already done, that you already are becoming wealthy, that you already are earning that dream, that desire amount of income each month, right? It's already done. It's got to be already done in your mind in order for you to actually truly develop that state of mind known as faith. All right. I'm going to say one last thing that's going to offend myself and it's probably going to hurt. But I'm saying this out of love. He says this. He says that only a small, probably like 2 out of 100 people really understand the idea of faith. But get this. Even if you do understand it, even if you do understand what faith really means, if you do not back it up with action and make it a part of your habit life, you might as well just not understand it. Because faith without deeds is dead. Faith without action is dead. Faith without absolute positive belief is dead. Now that hurts, right? This is going to hurt me. I'm going to say it, but like the question is, do you believe it when you speak it, or do you believe it when you're taking the actions for it? Right? That's what true faith is, right? When you believe it, when you're taking the actions, and those actions became a habitual part of your daily living. And I'm not gonna say that I figured that out yet, right? Because if I did, right, that's when you truly get it. I hope this is making sense. Let's go to the 5th premise. All right. This is a good one. He says the 5th part of your definite major purpose is that the power of thought is the only thing which humans have absolute control over. Right? The power of thought. There's one thing, right? You can talk to all the greats and they will disagree on everything. There's one thing that they will all agree on, and that is we become what we think about. Right? It's called Think and Grow Rich for a reason. There is one thing that you can control that no one else can influence you on, and that is your ability to control your own thoughts. Right? Think about even Viktor Frankl, who wrote the book Man's Search for Meaning. Right? He went through the Holocaust, and there was one thing that he was able to preserve during all the torture that he experienced, and that was his ability to think his own thoughts, right? No matter what the Nazis did to him, no matter how much they tried to hurt him physically and mentally, they could not control his thoughts because he has this one ability, and that is the same ability that you have, and that is to control what you think about, right? That's the secret right there. You can think whatever you want. All right. This one's going to be a bold statement. Number six of your definite major purpose is this. He says that the subconscious section of the mind appears to be the only doorway of individual approach to infinite intelligence. Now pay attention to my words. I said it appears to be, right? I don't know for sure. Napoleon Hill doesn't know for sure, but the way that you can communicate with infinite intelligence appears to be through the subconscious section of the mind. Now, one thing that I was just talking about, right? How do you truly influence your subconscious mind? Right? It's by having that burning desire, right? Having that definite major purpose backed by a burning desire, and then truly understanding that state of mind known as faith, right? The feeling is the secret. Okay, I'm going to share one last idea. All right, let me read this. This is a paragraph that I'm going to read probably twice because it is that important. This is the last premise of your definite major purpose, and it's this. He says, Napoleon Hill says that every brain is built of a receiving set and a broadcasting station for the vibrations of thought. He says that this fact explains the importance of moving with definiteness of purpose instead of drifting, since the brain may be so thoroughly charged with the nature of one's purpose that it will begin to attract the physical or material equivalents of that purpose. So what is he saying there? He's saying that your brain is a broadcasting and receiving station for the vibration of thought. And when you dial it up, right, just like you're turning on the radio to a certain station, when you dial your brain and charge it with exactly what you want, with your definite major purpose, all of a sudden, right, this is what people talk about with manifesting stuff, right? I don't truly understand that idea, but I do understand that your brain will literally attract what you need on your journey. But you have to first literally treat it like it's a computer, and you have to encode your definite major purpose into your brain, and it will find the means to get it. Right? There's this one book. What book is it? Psycho-Cybernetics, right? And basically that whole book says that we are basically like a success mechanism, right? Our brains are wired for success. Now the thing is, it's going to target what it is that's on the forefront of your mind. Now the issue with most people is that what's on the forefront of their mind is what they don't want, right? They're worrying about things that they don't want. But if you literally wire into yourself by writing out your goals every day of exactly what you want, all of a sudden, through the repetition, what you want is going to be the forefront of your thought, and you are going to literally be like a target going right there. And this is a really big idea. I hope, understand, it may not make sense now, but it's through the repetition of this idea that it's going to start to make sense, right? You can have anything that you want if you just follow the simple principle, right? It all starts with your definite major purpose and getting crystal clear about what you want, because then what happens is the reticular activating system will be activated. And what that does is it starts to look for the good things. And that's so important, right? The thing is, this is why 98% of the population is losing. They're looking for the bad things. You'll hear conversations. They'll be talking about what's wrong in their life, right? But if you really dial your brain to focus only on what's good, it's going to target that literally like a seeking missile towards your goal. And that's how it gets done. So that's the conversation today on your definite major purpose. And that's truly how you break the habit of drifting. And I hope that this was very valuable for you, because it was valuable for me. And so thank you guys for watching this one. Stay tuned for tomorrow. I'll be live again, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.